Hello students. Today we are going to go over section 12.3, End Behavior. This is on page 174 if you are in regular SM1 and page 186 if you are in honors. So our objective today is I can identify key features of graphs as x approaches positive infinity or negative infinity. And again, negative, kind of a sideways 8 for negative infinity, and just an infinity, sideways 8 for positive infinity. And this is read as, when you see x and the arrow and negative infinity, is read as x approaches negative infinity. If you see this, x and then a sideways 8 is read as x approaches positive infinity. So now we're going to look at number 1, y equals x plus 1, and its graph and some key features according to that graph. Now, if we look at it and say, hey, what's going on? First of all, is it linear or exponential? Okay, well, linear, see the word line in the word linear? That means does it form a line? And this definitely forms a line, so it would be a linear graph with no asymptotes, so we don't worry about any asymptotes there. Now, is it a growth or decay? Well, is it going down to the right or up to the right? So that's basically what we're trying to figure out there. Okay, it's going up and to the right, so it's going to be a growth. Then, what is our x and our y-intercept? Where does it cross the x-axis and where does it cross the y-axis? Okay, so the x-intercept, again, right here is the x-axis. It crosses at -1, 0. And where does it cross the y-axis? Right here at 0, +1. Now, for our end behavior, let's find out what's going on with the graph. Let's look at the left side of the graph. Okay, it's going down and to the right. As x approaches negative infinity, what does y approach? Okay, it's going down, down, down. So y will also approach negative infinity. Okay. Now we look at the right side. As x approaches positive infinity, what happens with y? Y is also going to approach positive infinity. Now, you don't have to put the plus sign for positive infinity. You just simply write infinity. Okay, now let's go on to number 2. Okay, here's number 2, y equals 3 to the x. Is that a linear or exponential function? Well, it's more than a straight line, right? Okay, so it's more than a straight line here. Y equals 3 to the x power. Okay, so if it's like curving way up or curving way down, you know it's going to be exponential. And is there an asymptote? Yes, there will be an asymptote. This will always come closer and closer to 0, but it will never hit it. So we say that there is an asymptote at y equals 0, because this line, again, will never hit 0. Okay, now, is it a growth or a decay? Well, as it's going to the right, as x increases, y also increases, so that means it's a growth. Okay, then x-intercept, where does it cross the x-axis? Well, remember we said it could go on forever this way and never touch this x-axis. So that means there is no x-intercept, so that does not apply. That's what the NA stands for. The y-intercept is going to be right here, and that will be at 0, 1. Okay. Now we're going to look at the end behaviors. What is going on as x approaches negative infinity, and what's going on as it approaches positive infinity. So we can see as x approaches negative infinity, this is going to get closer and closer to 0, but it will never get there. You could try 3 to the 100, 3 to the 50, 3 to the 49, whatever your calculator can handle. it will get closer and closer to 0, but will never hit 0. Okay, now as x approaches infinity, as we go further, x gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is going to get higher and higher. That means y will approach positive infinity. And if you can see on the graph, the right side, it's going up and up and up. The left side of graphs gets closer and closer to 0. Okay? All right, go ahead and finish the rest of the unit for your homework. You can do this, students. You rock.